Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. I exposed Luffy to Garp at the beginning of One Piece. Chapter 21. There was Buggy the clown in front of him. He ate the fake fruit he made, and planned to sell the real fruit for money, but was so scared that he swallowed the fruit by the red hair. And now Nami also wants to sell the fruit for money to save the village. It seems that the Murlocs are so impressed with her that she never thought about eating devil fruit to gain the strength to resist Arlong's rule. To dispel her fear of Murlocs, she has to come step by step. I'm not kidding. If you don't eat it, I will eat this devil fruit myself. Sha Nuo spoke very seriously, but Zoro on the side was slightly startled. Didn't you have eaten devil fruit? Ah, my body is an unusual shape that has been rare in the ocean for many years, and I can eat multiple devil fruits without being affected. Is that so? I didn't expect that there would be such a character in the sea. It's amazing. Zoro, who doesn't know much about devil fruit, easily believes what Sha Nuo said, not knowing what it means to be amazed. So, the choice is yours. If you don't eat it, I will eat it myself. With that, Sha Nuo shook the fruit in front of Nami. Quote. It was obvious that Nami's face was very tangled, but the tangled expression lasted only 3 or 4 seconds before turning to firmness. I eat. She quickly snatched devil fruit from Sha Nuo's hand, opened her mouth and took a hard bite. Looking at her expression and demeanor, it seems that eating is not fruit, but berry. Seeing Nami like this, Sha Nuo smiled slightly. He has already guessed which devil fruit it is, but it doesn't suit him very well. For women like Nami, it is the best one. Although this devil fruit may not be able to bring much strength to Nami, it is definitely more than enough in terms of self-protection. And in terms of curses, Sha Nuo remembers that on the original version, Nami has never been in the sea a few times. The rescuers are basically done by coolies like Zoro and Sanji, and they don't worry much about falling into the water. Sha Nuo's future pirate group will tune everyone into a strong existence. In addition to the original professional abilities, their own strength can't be lost. The weak trio on the original version, let's abandon the weak name. So terrible. After chewing for a few times, Nami's face became as ugly as when Sha Nuo ate lion fruit. But she didn't spit it out. After swallowing hard, she stuffed all the remaining fruit into her mouth. This is a fruit worth 100 million berry. You must eat all of it without any leftovers. His complexion was ugly, and his heart was crying. Nami was eating this devil fruit and his mood was really complicated. When she realized that Sha Nuo had discovered her attempt, she knew that the only way to her advantage was to eat devil fruit. Well, even though you can't sell berry, you can at least get the ability. She can only comfort herself inwardly like this. After swallowing the last piece of pulp in her mouth, she stuck her tongue out, and before she had time to say anything, she suddenly felt some strange changes in her body. Nami was a little surprised. Zoro was also surprised, but only Sha Nuo showed a clear smile. It really is that devil fruit. I saw that the skin of Nami's whole body became smooth and clean in an instant, flawless as jade, and you can feel the amazing softness with a flick of your finger, which can be said to be broken by a blow. Nami clutched his face, feeling that something strange had happened to him that couldn't be said. She couldn't help but looked at Sha Nuo, who was standing there smiling and looking at her. The devil fruit you eat is called a slippery fruit. Sha Nuo said to Nami, with a flash of surprise in her eyes. That's right, what Nami ate was the slippery fruit that Alvida got on the original version. After eating the slippery fruit, the whole body will become smooth and tender, and the skin surface will be smooth, and all items that touch the skin will slide away. Sliding barefoot from the skateboard is just like wearing roller skates for fast movement. The most peculiar thing is that this fruit also has a beauty effect, which can turn a peerless ugly woman into a peerless beauty. Alvida was originally a big fat man with a face full of Finch's Madara. Later, after eating the slippery fruit, his appearance changed dramatically. The skin all over his body was very slippery, and it was hard to hurt by general attacks. Even an ugly girl like Alvida can achieve that kind of heaven-defying beauty effect, not to mention a beauty like Nami who is not bad at all. The current Nami, even Sha Nuo, who is used to seeing beautiful women on the earth, can't help feeling bursts of amazing colors. I am afraid that the current Nami, in terms of appearance, may not lose to the pirate empress, Boa Hancock, right? I actually have become so beautiful. Nami looked at his face in the mirror brought by Zoro's ambassador niche, unconsciously showing a fascinating look. No woman cares about her appearance, even a girl like Nami who regards money as her life, is very concerned about her appearance. Seeing that my face looks many times better than before, I think of Sha Nuo's confident smile that I must eat devil fruit before, and waves of moving emotions rise in Nami's heart. It turns out that it was for my sake that he forced me to eat such a peculiar devil fruit. Nami, who had a lot of causes in his brain, felt that his face became a little blush, which made Zoro's eyes a little straight. Nami is a little thief cat, who has rushed through the ocean with waves and storms. After this little girl's posture lasted only a few seconds, she regained her cheerful and lively character. And express her gratitude to Sha Nuo in a completely different way. Thank you really, Captain, I really like the embarkation gift you gave me. Before Sha Nuo could react, she smiled and hugged Sha Nuo, and put her entire head in her arms. Ahem, I won't talk about too much description. For details, refer to the scene when Baratie Archipelago, Nami and Usopp met for the first time 2 years later, hugging him with excitement. Hounwin, how da. This is Sha Nuo's first feeling, the unique fragrance of the girl penetrated into Sha Nuo's nostrils. Moreover, it is so embarrassing and slippery. It is indeed the beauty power brought by slippery fruit. This effect is simply heaven-defying. Fortunately, Nami also knew how to measure, and after venting a little bit of emotion, he let go of Sha Nuo so that he did not suffocate and fainted. Even so, Nami's face still has a full smile, and her autumnal eyes can't help looking at Sha Nuo, as if it contains other different emotions. Zoro, an emotional idiot, didn't respond to this, just yawned and asked the sweeping niche to get him a bottle of wine. In addition to beauty, Nami also carefully studied the subsidiary power brought by this slippery fruit. Well, beauty is the most important thing for her, but other abilities have become incidental. The first is the passive tenderness brought about by the slippery fruit. The paramesha ability of the smooth fruit is also a superhuman type, which can make the skin surface of the whole body become extremely smooth and tender, so that all items that touch the skin will slide away, which is zero friction. That is to say, whether it is a blunt bullet or a sharp sword, it will be slipped away by Nami's skin and cannot cause damage to Nami. This is like a combination of the two major advantages of rubber fruit and chop fruit, giving Nami great self-preservation. But it also has weaknesses, unable to avoid the attack of the explosion. And Sha Nuo tried it quietly, and found that wrapping armament hockey can also damage Nami's smooth and tender skin. In addition to the tender superhuman body, Nami also developed other abilities on this basis. For example, when walking tenderly, you can go barefoot and accelerate through yourself, so that you can slide forward as if you were wearing roller skates, or you can speed up to escape. In short, Nami has harvested a very good and powerful fruit, even the smile on his face is much larger than before. By the way, Sha Nuo, how did you know that there is devil fruit in it? Zoro interjected and asked with insight and curiosity. I am an alien. I have a natural perception of devil fruit. I know that the power of the devil is attracting me, so I found it here. Anyway, Zoro and Nami didn't understand, they all pushed to the alien body. If you tell a lot of lies, it becomes the truth of the matter. Ha ha ha, those are not important anymore, then Captain, where are we going next? Nami's face was filled with a beautiful smile. Go and meet our pirate's companion, Sha Nuo said, pointing to the pirate ship faintly passing by on the sea level. In front of the pirate ship, there seemed to be a black cat's bow hung. A pirate's companion. ... It's another cloudless, sunny weather. East blue, a calm and peaceful early morning in West Rob village. A sharp shout from the coast broke the peaceful atmosphere of the village. It's not good, everyone. A large pirate ship came from the east coast of the canyon. A lot of pirates are coming into the village. Everyone, run away. A long-nosed teenager with a yellow mesh turban on his head was panting and running on the village road. In the houses on both sides of the village road, the villagers looked at the yelling long-nosed boy through the windows. They didn't respond to the content of the warning. They just smiled and picked up the guy next to him. Someone picked up a pot lid and threw it towards Usopp, who was still yelling. Usopp ducked to avoid the lid, then made a face at the villager. Can't reach it, ha ha ha. Boy, I have to teach you a lesson today. Usopp's words seemed to be a fuse. After he finished speaking, many villagers happily copied weapons and jumped out of the house. Come on, wow haha. Upon seeing this, Usopp laughed and ran away knowing the current affairs. Stupid, just because you want to catch up with me, Uncle Usopp, dream. He continued to mock as he ran. This brat. The villagers smiled helplessly and did not chase him. After greeted each other, they began their day's work. It's another good day. There are 3 people Sha knew who have the same idea as the villagers. Zoro yawned and woke up from his sleep to find that the ship had docked unknowingly. The so-called pirates, the 100 Crow, who was once caught and executed by Marine, is on this island. Zoro smashed his mouth and showed a more interested smile. I heard that guy is also a swordsman, but I don't know how much strength he still retains after retiring for so many years. The Azure Dragon quickly landed. After Sha Nuo and the others dropped the anchor, they urged the niche to take a good look at the ship, and after getting its crazy nod, they landed with satisfaction. Looking at the cliff and canyon in front of him, the group didn't respond, and they planned to walk in like this. But, when Sha Nuo's expression moved, Observation Haki noticed a certain onion-headed teenager who was trembling in the grass. After thinking about it carefully, a nasty smile appeared on Sha Nuo's face. A different idea appeared in his mind. I said, he smiled and said to Zoro and Nami, shall we do something pirates should do? Nami and Zoro tilted their heads and looked at the smiles on Sha Nuo's faces. Various question marks began to appear on their foreheads. No, it's not good, this time there is really a pirate coming. The onion-head boy in the jungle showed endless fear on his face. Although he had never seen such a pirate flag, but by looking at that huge and majestic pirate ship, he could know that the pirate who came in was definitely not a good thing. The village is going to be dangerous, what should we do? For a while, the onion boy was very helpless. By the way, find Captain Usopp. Suddenly, there was a flash of light in his mind, as if he had grasped the last straw. If you find the captain, he will be fine. He will definitely be able to solve this group of pirates. Thinking of this, he didn't delay any more, and immediately anointed the soles of his feet, rushing to and fro the village. When the onion boy found Usopp, the latter was bragging with 2 green pepper and carrot boys. What's the matter with the onion? Did something happen? Hurry up, I'm about to go to Kaya to tell my adventure story. Seeing Onion Head in a hurry, Usopp couldn't help but joked. It's not good, Captain Usopp. A pirate is here. Pirate? Don't be kidding, our village hasn't been a pirate for many years. How could it be possible? Hearing the anxious voice of the onion boy, Usopp sneered subconsciously, thinking it was impossible. He boasted more often, and he didn't even believe the pirate's arrival. After hearing it, he began to deny it in his heart. But just after he finished speaking, he saw 3 figures walking out indistinctly behind Onion 2. Is it here, Syllabu village? Zoro, with a fierce look in his eyes, walked in front, speaking in a frivolous tone. But if you look closely, you can still see that the corners of his eyes are twitching. Why do I have to do this kind of thing? He thought so weakly in his heart, while Nami next to him was holding his mouth and holding a smile. Really, pirate? Usopp began to tremble, and the moment he saw Zoro's fierce face, he also identified the 3 pirates. It's over, what should I do now? Do you want to remind the people in the village? Usopp's brain moved wildly, but before he had time to make any moves, he saw the young and handsome guy at the head of the 3, took out a flintlock gun from his arms and fired a shot in the sky. Boom! The long-lost gunshot sounded at the entrance of the village, making the villagers working in the village startled. Is this a gunshot? Someone said uncertainly. There have been no gunshots in Syllab village for many years. The villagers could not help but put down their work and rushed to the entrance of the village to check the situation. Then I saw a handsome young boy holding a flintlock gun and pointed at Usopp with a black gunshot muzzle. Beside him, a man with green hair holding 3 knives and a very ferocious face, and a beautiful woman who was very beautiful and swayed in her heart. 3 people formed a very strange combination. Oh, everyone, these people are pirates. The onion head was full of tears and his nose yelled to the residents of the village. Pirate! Hearing the yelling of the onion, the villagers suddenly woke up from Nami's beauty, and the fear of the pirates began to overwhelm everything. These three are pirates. Really? Could it be Usopp who lied to us? Don't laugh, the gunshot just now is real, and everyone looked at the fierce Zoro, and couldn't help believing the Onion's words. That is, what about even the pirates? They only have 3 people, but we have so many people here. Yes, yes, let's go together and catch these pirates. Under the anger of the crowd, some people wanted to take measures consciously. However, a bright blue sword light flashed across the top of everyone's heads instantly, making the villagers' scalps feel chills. Boom! The sound of the tree trunk falling to the ground sounded, and the knife man cut several big trees as thick as a bucket into 2 easily like cutting tofu. Whoever dares to move a step, I will cut off his head. Sha Nuo put the yunce in her hand into the sheath and said with a smile. The smile was very kind, but his words still made the villagers feel that their necks were all chilly, and their scalps were a little numb. In the face of this absolute power, no one dared to act anymore. The sense of resistance that had just arisen had all vanished, leaving only despair lingering in his heart. Seeing all the villagers standing in place, Sha Nuo nodded in satisfaction. Then he looked at Usopp, who was held in front of him with the infinite bullets drawn by the famous sword yunce in the lottery. He had already turned Byakugan over, tears streaming down his face. You are very good. This guy, when our pirate group came, he dared to run into the village to warn him, he was not so courageous. Sha Nuo deliberately smiled and joked, but in the eyes of the 3 onion boys, there was a devilish smile. The morning warning. Is it true that Usopp said? It should be. Chekisho, we were careless, we didn't recognize it, and Usopp was arrested. After the villagers listened to Sha Nuo's words, there was a little commotion. If it's normal people's minds, it's the beginning of complaining why Usopp this fool lied to us on weekdays, so that we did not notice the danger for the first time. All this is his fault, and all the faults are pushed to Usopp. But in the world of One Piece, the villagers are very simple, but think that they did not understand Usopp's intentions, and felt a little regretful. I know that. Usopp, who was pointed at by the gun, couldn't even say a complete sentence at this moment. He was timid, trembling all over, and his language ability was almost completely lost. Since you are willing to make such a big sacrifice for the villagers, you must be willing to make even greater sacrifices, right? Sha Nuo's face showed that kind of evil smile, and he pushed the flintlock in his hand against Usopp's long nose, not salty or indifferent. With that said, he took a deep breath and yelled at the group of villagers. Listen well, Lousy is the captain of the Black Cat Pirates group who is best at torturing people's hearts and making strategies. It is precisely because of this wisdom that Lousy is called 100 Sheik Luo. Now, Lousy will also do a human torture to your village. At the moment when Sha Nuo yelled that he was 100 Kuro, Nami turned away, shrugging her shoulders, and almost didn't hold her back. Sha Nuo's flintlock spear hit Usopp's forehead, and said in a voice full of evil and fun. Now, my uncle gives you 2 choices for this ignorant brat. One is to kill all the villagers and looting all the treasures. I am in a good mood and can spare your life. Secondly, you are taking your own life in exchange for the lives of all the villagers. Aren't you willing to sacrifice for the village? Well, I admire your courage and am willing to fulfill you. 2 choices, depending on which one you are willing to choose. After speaking, Sha Nuo made a superb look, waiting for Usopp's answer. Zoro looked at Sha Nuo, but didn't say a word. This kind of human torture is the most difficult. He doesn't understand why Sha Nuo has to test this kind of long nose, which is obviously only lying. My own life is still the life of the whole village. After hearing this choice, Usopp instantly awoke. Looking at Haigulongdong's muzzle, he couldn't help swallowing. He was very timid, and he was very frustrated. If possible, he would like to live, and he would like to go out to sea for a different adventure. I also want to find the dad he admires, and proudly tell him that he has grown into an excellent sea warrior. But, he looked at the 3 onion head brothers who were trembling together around their feet, and looked at the helpless faces of the villagers. I even thought of Kaya, who was coughing in the villa at the top of the village, waiting for him to tell the story. I choose the second item. Usopp made up his mind, took a deep breath, couldn't help but said this sentence firmly and tremblingly. After speaking, he could clearly feel that his body was full of power again. After completing the mortal consciousness, he looked away and started to yell at Sha Nuo with tears. Come on, you pirates, just take the life of Uncle Usopp. Uncle Usopp, the brave sea warrior, if you dare to frown, you are not the proud Usopp. Chiki Shu, why didn't I choose to go to sea? It's much better to die in the sea than to die here in such a wasteful way. At the end of the talk, the tears on Usopp's face have flowed more and more, and Zoro beside Sha Nuo grinned at him, eyes with appreciation. Usopp, you kid, Captain Usopp. After listening to Usopp's fearless answer, the villagers were in a mess, and the three Onion Head brothers burst into tears and nose. But whoosh, isn't it just trying hard? I'm fighting with you pirates. Stop, do you want to make a vain sacrifice? You can't live up to Usopp, let his sacrifice be in vain. Some of the infected villagers wanted to jump out to resist, but were pressed by more sane villagers, and also glanced at Usopp and Sha Nuo with tears in their eyes. Seeing the latter with an admiring smile, he gritted his teeth and pulled the three Onion brothers who were still crying, and fleeing towards the Kaya villa on the mountain. Soon, at the entrance of the entire village, there were once again only the three of Sha Nuo and Usopp, who was crying. The latter is still muttering, "Check Shu," in his mouth. There is no extra resentment, only regret and regret for why I didn't choose to go to sea earlier. If there is an opportunity to go to sea now in front of you, would you like to go to sea? When Usopp was still thinking about it, he heard such a sentence ringing in his ear. He couldn't help but pause, and with those confused eyes with tears, he looked at Sha Nuo, who was smiling at him and had put the gun away. You won't kill me. Ah, I suddenly don't want to kill you. Aren't you pirates? Yes, but who has stipulated that pirates must kill people? Isn't there a pirate who simply wants to find treasure? But, you can see that I was moved by your self-sacrificing courage, so I gave up the idea of killing you. As Sha Nuo said, Usopp, who had not changed his temper, straightened up immediately. Really? He didn't wait for Sha Nuo to answer, but he laughed to himself. It's me, Uncle Usopp, even the pirates are grateful for my courage, ha ha ha. In the laughter, there is endless joy and relief for survival. After Usopp almost laughed, Sha Nuo came up with his idea. What a beautiful beauty. Before Sha Nuo finished speaking, a special voice rang behind the three of them, interrupting his words. Sha Nuo looked back and saw a guy dancing and walking backwards, wearing heart-shaped round glasses and a gentleman's top hat, staring at Nami, his face flushed. Nami was a little hairy by this gaze, and couldn't help but leaned against Sha Nuo subconsciously. Such a beautiful young lady, please be sure to associate with me. Who wants to associate with you? Go to hell. Facing the obsessive face, Nami didn't get angry, picked up a stone, and smashed it at the strange guy. Oh, beautiful lady, even if you attack me, I don't dare to fight back the slightest, because I can't attack such a beautiful you at all. After the guy got a flying stone from Nami on his forehead, his face didn't change in any way, and strange words were still uttered in his mouth. His body twisted excitedly, seeing a big drop of sweat appear on the back of Zoro's head. What kind of guy is this? He weighed the knife in his hand a little uncomfortably, as if he was born with such a pervert. Does Hypnosis Master Zanko, the former deputy captain of the Black Cat Pirates, now the captain? The costume of this person is so special that Sha Nuo can recognize his origin at a glance. Before Crow's suspended animation, Zanga followed the former captain, 100 strategies. Crow to attack the marine ship of Marine Monka's troops, and used hypnosis to order Monka to escort the shipwright Nukia who replaced Chloe to the military court for trial, causing Chloe to be tried. Be able to retire. Zangao also became the captain of the pirate group. Today, 3 years later, Zangao came to this place to assist Kello in obtaining Kaya's property. Speaking of which, he is also a strange guy. In the early years, before he became a pirate, Zangao was a wandering dancer who often slept because he was not famous. One day, after sleeping on the grass for too long, a striped mold mushroom grew on his chin. He couldn't bear to eat the mold mushroom head when he was hungry. Although it was very unpalatable, it was not poisoned, and instead received hypnosis. Later, Zangao and Chloe's plan to seize Kaya's property failed. He escaped from the wanderings of the Black Cat Pirates, and a series of adventures took place. Destiny makes someone. With the help of his like-minded friend Fine Booty, he was finally cleared of the crime because he was obsessed with the black jail Hina, so he joined her under her as a marine seaman recruit. Later, he was promoted all the way and was able to participate in the war on the top. I have to say that human destiny is really wonderful. Sha Nuo felt a little emotional, but she also smiled. Look at Zanga now that he is obsessed with Nami and don't want it. He shouldn't join Marine because he is obsessed with Hina. I have to say that after Nami ate the slippery fruit, the heaven-defying appearance of Sha Nuo sometimes missed 2 beats in his heart, not to mention the high praise. That, when Sha Nuo looked at the praise high, a weak voice suddenly sounded. Who are you guys anyway? Usopp wiped the tears from the corner of his eyes, and when his life was saved, he couldn't help being bolder. I said, we are pirates. Sha Nuo smiled and said to him. Before Usopp opened her mouth, she continued. It's just that we, like your father Usopp, belong to the kind of pirates who yearn for adventure at sea. My father. Do you know my father? After hearing the news about his father, Usopp was very excited. I also forgot about Sha Nuo holding a gun against him before, eyes filled with bright light. He has always been proud of his father who rushed to the sea and survived in this era of pirates who are ready to move around. Well, if his father is desperate to live, everyone else will die. To be honest, Sha Nuo feels that Usopp is really unreliable as a father, and it is also because of his wife and son that not only did not hate him, but he was still proud of him. It can only be said that everyone's Xinxing is different, and they will make different choices and reactions in the same situation. I don't know your father, but a friend of mine met your father. He said that your father told him a lot about you, and he even knew you a little bit with me. Sha Nuo smiled, and there was a prompt sound in her mind. Ding, post mission, World's No. 1 Sniper Companion. Invite the future World's number 1 sniper to be your companion, and you will receive generous rewards for successful missions. Oh, it's another World number 1. Usopp really has this potential and upper limit. It really deserves to be the god, known as Luffy for good times, Zoro for adversities, and Usopp for desperate times, Usopp God tier. Moreover, the previous mission of Zoro has already demonstrated this kind of the world's number 1 mission and the generous reward after completion. After Zoro's mission was completed, he directly rewarded the Azure Dragon and Lion Fruit. Sha Nuo is really looking forward to the rewards he will have after pulling Usopp on board. For Usopp, Sha Nuo does have the idea of getting on the boat. Usopp, as the backbone of the weak trio, is ingenious and has various methods. He is not weak, he can be valued by Luffy as a weak body, and walking with Luffy to Baratie Archipelago is enough to prove everything. Especially when it comes to sniping, there is a saying that if Usopp hadn't played a vital role in certain places, many activities of the Straw Hat Pirates might have ended in failure. The most typical is Dressrosa's Sugar, and Enies Lobby's rescue sniper on Robin at the last minute. Usopp God tier is worthy of its name. With the entry point of Usopp, Sha Nuo and Usopp found a rock on the spot and sat down and had a pleasant conversation. And Zoro also helped Nami, knocking out the praise that harassed her. At the same time, in the Kaya villa on the heights of Silab village. Kaya, who has been waiting for Usopp not to come, is still a little bit surprised and disappointed, thinking that Usopp will not come today. As a result, when she was sad, a group of residents from the village rushed up and brought an amazing news. Pirates broke into the village, and Usopp sacrificed himself to deal with the pirates in order to help the villagers escape. Hearing the news, and seeing the villagers, self-blaming faces and onion head trio crying, the frail and sickly Kaya directly fainted, leaving another housekeeper in a sheep hat, Meili, in a frenzy. And the butler Clabatel, who is the real 100 crew who concealed his identity, pushed his glasses with his palms in an agitated mind. You said, the pirate who came here was called 100K Luo. Yes, mentioning this name, the villagers are very gnashing their teeth. The guy who claims to be 100 Clow is very strong. He cut off a group of trees with a single blow. We are not opponents at all, and we can't help Usopp. Very strong, cut off, tortured people's hearts. What is going on here? Shouldn't it be the day when Zanga came to him to discuss the attack on the village and the murder of Missy? How could 100 crows pop up again suddenly out of thin air? Who on earth is doing things under the guise of my name? Crow was a little uneasy. He felt that the plan he had made was deviated in some respects and deviated from the original established track uncontrollably. Ha ha ha, this way, my dad is also looking forward to the day when I can become a real man and meet him in the ocean. Usopp smiled happily. His father's heroic deeds and his expectations, as well as the thrilling things that happened today, made Usopp's desire for the sea no longer restrained. How about Usopp, would you like to come to my ship and join me to conquer the Grand Line? Sha Nuo, who sensed the sharp changes in Usopp's mind, promptly sent out an invitation. Get on your ship and go to conquer the Grand Line. Usopp was a little startled when he was invited. Immediately, he suddenly remembered what had happened, and said furiously. Are you guys kidding me just now? Ah, it's just a joke, sorry. I'm just sorry, it's over, I really have a mortal consciousness. Seeing Usopp and Sha Nuo fighting there, Nami and Zoro couldn't help but smile at each other. They have no opinion on Usopp's embarkation. Usopp's choice just now proves that he is eligible for embarkation. Noisy, Usopp was very tempted by Sha Nuo's invitation. He now has the idea of going to sea, and Sha Nuo has a little connection with his father and belongs to the kind of like-minded one. And looking at the hands that Sha Nuo briefly exposed just now, you can see that he is very strong, at least the strongest among the people Usopp has ever seen. Follow the adventure on such a ship, and you will surely become a brave sea warrior. How about Usopp? I think your sniper skills must not be inferior to your dad. The position of the sniper on my ship is still vacant, but this time I came here specifically for you. Is it specifically for me? Sha Nuo's coaxing words made Usopp particularly comfortable. Ha ha ha, of course, my master Usopp's sniper skills are second to none in the entire East Blue. Unconsciously, he showed a little bragging ability again. As for getting on the boat, if it is for me to be a boat. Da da da. Before Usopp could finish speaking, a mess of footsteps came from behind. Sha Nuo and Zoro had already turned their heads behind them. Not long after, some pirates dressed in black cat costumes walked in from the dense forest behind them. Ha ha ha, there are actually people. Seeing that they don't look like the residents of the village, they must be the owner of the pirate ship. Yeah, it's such a luxurious pirate ship, but it didn't find a penny of treasure. Who would believe it? You must have hidden the treasure and put it somewhere on the island, right? Yes, give it to you for not dying. Our current captain is offering a reward of value, 9 million berries. Big pirate, Hypnosis Master praises it. This group of pirates is obviously the people on board the Black Cat Pirates group. Sha Nuo didn't care about their attitude, but their words made the faces of him, Zoro and Nami darken. What did you do with the Azure Dragon? Qinglong, is that the name of the pirate ship? Don't say it really matches, ha ha ha, now that ship is ours. Boom, crackling, clang. Sha Nuo didn't have the habit of beeping too much with this group of soldiers. Under Usopp's trembling eyes, and Zoro, who was equally annoyed, released all the members of this group of Black Cat pirates. Sorry, we were wrong. The little soldiers lined up, led by the so-called Black Cat brothers, with big bags and broken teeth on their faces, and apologized to Sha Nuo and the others with blood. Stop long-winded, how is our boat? Is it still niche? We didn't do anything. After all, it's an unknown pirate ship. Only our Captain Zanga used hypnosis to board and fight with a fierce lion. Later, hypnosis was used. He gave it to hypnosis. Then we carefully pulled back the captain who had also been reached by our own hypnosis technique hypnosis, and after waking him up, he said that no treasure or food was found in the warehouse on board, and there were no other people. That's why Captain Zanga took the lead. Let's take a look at the situation first. We couldn't help but want the treasure, and we didn't dare to go to the boat to provoke the lion, so we acted without authorization and came here. The Black Cat brothers explained the situation clearly. Knowing that there was nothing wrong with the Azure Dragon, Sha Nuo was relieved. It seems that next time, no matter what the situation is, at least one person will have to stay to watch the boat. I got on the boat and gave the niche to hypnosis. Zoro caught Zangao, who was knocked out on the ground, in a timely manner. That's Captain Zanko. That group of Black Cat brothers reacted. Nami unceremoniously slapped Zangao's face several times. Dare to covet her treasure. If she hadn't carefully arranged the secret door, I'm afraid he would find the treasure and stolen it. Looking at the woman who frantically slapped her captain, even though she was pretty, for the sake of her own life, the boys couldn't help but bow their heads. It hurts. Zanga, who had been slapped a lot, finally woke up and yelled, covering his face. Zoro threw him to the ground with his backhand, drew the knife from his waist, and put it on his neck, so that what he wanted to say below him was swallowed directly. I have something to discuss. Zanga looked at the dazzling knife around his neck, and didn't think about pursuing any beautiful women, and said with a dry smile. It's terrible, this group of people is really strong, but also terrible. Usopp quietly serves as a background board. Sha Nuo looked at Zanga and thoughtfully. The residents in the villa waited here quietly after the housekeeper called and reported to Marine in the nearby Logue town. But even so, there was still a little fidgeting. The hatred of the pirates, self-blame for incompetence, gratitude to Usopp, etc., all kinds of emotions are different. Makes the current villa atmosphere looks a little lifeless. Mei Li was taking care of Kaya who had passed out, but the housekeeper Krabatar was in a dilemma. After the situation was beyond his control, he always felt that something was going to happen. Sure enough, with the excited shouts of the villagers, Krabatar looked for the reputation and saw Usopp, who was supposed to be killed, miraculously standing under the villa. He seems to be tied up with a card on top of his head, which says, "Let the butler Krabatel come here alone." What are the pirates looking for Butler Krabatel? Could it be that they have fallen in love with Miss Kaya's treasure? Yes, it must be so, that's why the butler Krabatar is allowed to negotiate. Should Krabatel go there, those pirates are very dangerous. By the way, that's great, the kid Usopp is not dead. That guy is willing to give up his life for us. Butler Nakrabat. The whispers of the villagers were all heard by Krabatel, that is, Beiji Klo. He pushed his glasses with his palm blankly. When he saw the other party calling for himself, he felt a jump in his heart. He was suspicious by nature, and he had begun to doubt gradually, and the other party did this for him. But he has obviously retired for 3 years, and the reward order was revoked 3 years ago because of the arrest of the fake crow. What else is worth targeting? He couldn't understand it, and he didn't want to go alone in his heart. But listening to the words of the villagers, he knew that he had to go this time. That bragging pirate bloody long-nosed stinky kid was willing to sacrifice himself for the lives of the villagers. Now that the pirate is just calling himself over, and he is very reluctant, then even if the villagers don't say it, they must have a grudge against him in their hearts. This is not what he wants. He endured it for 3 years, from being a high-ranking pirate captain to being a steward of others, in order to gain a legal status and identity, and to be admired and loved by people. If the villagers do not like and hate because of this incident, wouldn't his disguise performances over the past 3 years have been useless? There are only 3 pirates on the left and right. Where can they go? I was 3 years ago, I offered a reward of 16 million hundreds of clows. Crow confidently pushed his glasses again with his palm. This is a sign that he has never forgotten his fighting style in an easy life in the past 3 years. So, in the agitated tone of the villagers, he immediately stepped forward and put on an awe-inspiring posture, expressing his willingness to negotiate with the pirates. This move really won the favor of the villagers, and in the worried eyes of the villagers, they resolutely walked down the mountain. Do you think that guy will really come? At the entrance of the village, Usopp's bondage had already been untied, and asked the 3 of them eating kebabs with Sha Nuo. As long as that guy wants to achieve his goals, he will definitely come down. Sha Nuo took a sip of wine. Kaido. There was a sound of swallowing drool in my ears. I saw that the crew of the Black Cat pirate group were all knocked out by Sha Nuo, and Zoro tied them up with a rope. Only Zangao cut the meat next to him, doing barbecues for a few people. There is only food for cooking, not food for him. He who hasn't eaten for a day can only swallow his saliva there. In fact, this guy is not too bad in nature, and being a pirate is only forced by life. In the original version, after Luffy learned about their assassination plan, all he wanted to do was put Luffy hypnosis to sleep. He didn't want to kill him, so there was Madara. If his nature is bad, how could he become friends with Marine's Colonel Fine Booty, and be exonerated from the crime and be led by Hina? Later, he also joined the guard team of the World Summit held every 4 years, which is a step up. And this can also show that he is also very capable, you can consider recruiting him as a handyman, just to have a companion with the niche, and the pirate ship can also be supervised. As for whether Zanga is willing to, he is the same as the previous niche, is there still room for choice? Without the trouble of getting him on the boat casually, Sha-nuo felt that she was kind enough. That's it, Usopp nodded, and then was a little afraid. Unexpectedly, the butler who looked gentle turned out to be a big pirate who offered a reward of 16 million berry. I can't tell from Ben on weekdays, and there is such a huge conspiracy. 16 million is called a big pirate. Your bounty value in the next 2 years will still be 200 million berry, second only to the big three with straw hats. By the way, how did you know about this, Sha-nuo? Zoro finished pouring wine into his mouth, wondering. This should be a very secret thing, right? Ah, I learned about some of Monka's fortunes in Shell's town. After all, such a guy can be a colonel, but it's quite curious, so I knew that he was arrested by 100 kilograms. Luo is in charge. I thought at the time, how could it be possible to catch the big pirate of 16 million berry with Monka's strength, so I asked about Crow and knew that he was a sinister, cunning, resourceful and ruthless character. How could such a person be easily caught by a guy like Monka? So I kept an eye on it, and learned about the sea area where he was caught, as well as his reward order, that's why guess. With that said, Sha-nuo took out from the system space, he found out from the town of Shells, and had issued a yellowish and shabby Clow reward order issued 3 years ago. This is an important step for Menka's leadership. He regarded it as an honor and was framed so that it could be found by Sha-nuo. Sure enough, it is the butler of Krabat, exactly the same as the photo on the wanted order. After the confirmation, Usopp no longer had any doubts, and turned to look at Sha-nuo with admiration on his face. It's amazing, Sha-nuo, you can guess so many things with some clues, cough cough, it seems that your reasoning ability is very strong, second only to Captain Usopp, who has contrived me. Zoro and Nami also nodded, agreeing to Sha-nuo's speculation. Looking at the captain from home, he is much more reliable and powerful than expected. Such an idea emerged in both of them at the same time. If they encounter the kind of captain who only knows recklessness, toughness, stubbornness, no brains, and only knows how to risk eating meat, they can't say they have to worry about their headaches. The group of people's barbecue was quickly wiped out, and Zangao's somewhat envied eyes put away the tableware. Here, this is for you. It is your reward for the barbecue. You are hungry too. Eat it. Zangao looked at the piece of flesh and blood that he handed in front of him in disbelief, and listened to this slightly caring remark. He had never been cared about by anyone, and he couldn't help but feel sour when he had no friends. Thank you. After taking the flesh and blood, he sat there silently and ate. Upon seeing this, Sha-nuo and Zoro both smiled and looked at each other. Immediately, he looked at a tall guy with a shiny oil-backed head, small round glasses, and a black suit who came by from a distant village. As that guy, Black Cat, 100 Crow. Zoro's gaze was a little excited, and his thumb couldn't help but touch the hilt of the word Hidao. Yeah, that guy is very strong, but I think you should be able to handle it. I won't intervene in your fight. Sha-nuo patted Zoro on the shoulder, but in the end, give him a sigh of relief and let me send him on the road. This is the last respect for a captain. In fact, the system in Sha-nuo's mind once again issued a beep when Crow appeared. Ding, post-mission, smash the conspiracy, save the village. Defeat the murderous pirates in the village to achieve their goals, so that the lives of the residents in the village can be saved, and the missions will be rewarded with generous rewards. The task really came so timely every time. Learn. After hearing Sha-nuo's words, Zoro smiled excitedly and drew all 3 knives from his waist. He is not a good believer. As East Blue's strongest bounty hunter, how could he not have a few lives in his hands? It's just not shown in the anime. In Alabasta, Mr. One said when he was fighting with Zoro that the person sent to East Blue to invite Zoro was hacked to death by Zoro under his own protection. And in Whiskey Peak, Zoro also killed more than 100 bounty hunters, and became his pirate hunter. Of course, if you lose, it's okay. Anyway, I and Nami will fight for you. If you don't work anymore, let's switch to us. Captain, do you plan to let me be such a weak woman to fight with others? No. You are not a weak woman now, and the entire East Blue can't find a few people who can hurt you. But people will still be scared. When Sha Nuo and Nami were joking, Zoro stepped forward with no distraction. Usopp looked at the three people's way of getting along, silently swallowed back the idea of inspiring them to take Cloud together, and then curiously looked at the changes on the field. As for Zanga, after eating the flesh and bones, he stayed there quietly as a piece of wood. Although he is the current captain of the Black Cat pirate group, the current situation of the battle is no longer something he can get involved in. He could see that even if he came forward again, there would be no second result except for another fat beating and throwing it aside. Is that you? Known as the 100 Crow of the Black Cat Pirates. After approaching, Crow could clearly feel Zoro's eager gaze and the murderous aura radiating from his whole body. This made him confirm again that his identity has been exposed, and the goal of this group of people is for themselves. This made him extremely puzzled as to how he was exposed, and at the same time, a murderous intent to keep all these people here sealed up in his heart. Although I don't know what it is for the famous Black Cat Pirates and Captain Chloe to come here, but please leave quickly, I have already informed Marine, they will be here in a while. Chloe's eyes surged with cold light, but the awe-inspiring thief still shouted chasing the thief. Although his identity had been exposed, he had always been cautious to the end and killed the Sha Nuo group, the so-called Captain Crow of the Black Cat Pirates. He was determined not to verbally admit his identity. This guy, it's really difficult. Listening to Crow's words, Nami could feel how tricky he was. Such resourcefulness and character, if it were not here to retreat, God knows what kind of storms will be set off on the sea. Sha Nuo was psychologically prepared for Crow's difficulty, and didn't think it was a surprise. He knew that Oda had personally revealed that Crow's IQ was very high, second only to Red Hair Pirates Deputy Captain Ben Beckman. Although it is only in the ranks of the characters who appeared in the first 8 volumes, it is enough to show that Crow's resourcefulness is superb. It's a pity that his vision is too narrow and the pattern is too small, so he only focuses on this area of East Blue. If you can put him on the Grand Line, you can definitely make a difference. In addition, his strength is not too high. Although a genius like him has developed silent steps and spoons that have the same speed as the shave in the 6 styles, he can't even dominate the East Blue. Without strong strength and narrow vision, his defeat was doomed. In a world where the strength of one piece is everything, no matter how powerful it is, it will be easily crushed with a fist. It's just like the ending on his original version, and it's the same as it is now. Crack. Zoro was not interested in talking nonsense to Crow, and directly slashed with a knife. Stab. Closing his eyes slightly, under his black gloves with both hands, Espada's cat's claws spread out, exuding a cold and dazzling murderous intent, and he greeted Zoro. Zoro in his heyday has no problem dealing with Crow. With a reward of 20 million and a physical fitness of 10 times that of a human being, Arlong, a murloc who was slashed by an eagle eye, was amazed at Zoro's strength and wanted to get rid of Zoro as soon as possible when he was injured. He was faintly afraid of his strength. Therefore, this battle is full of firepower, and it can also come back in the face of adversity. For the more and more courageous Zoro, it is only a little tricky at best. The result of this battle is already obvious. After Crow sensed the difficulty of Zoro, he made a decisive use of silent steps and spoons, his 2 great tricks at the bottom of the box. Such a move caught Zoro off guard, but suffered some losses, leaving a few bloody scars on his body. Although the speed of the spoon is amazing, it also has a fatal flaw. After starting the spoon, even the person who makes the move has no idea what he will cut or who he will attack. Although this trick is a bit tricky, the final result has not changed. During the battle, Zoro's strength was also rapidly improving, and soon he caught a flaw in the gap. With a 3-sword style of mighty big move, a tiger hunting ended the entire battle. Thank you. Sha Nuo smiled lightly to Zoro, who was sitting on the sidelines and closing his eyes to recuperate. Zoro didn't reply. He benefited a lot from this battle, and if he could digest his feelings afterwards, his strength could improve a lot. After Sha Nuo consoled Zoro, she walked to the side of Crow who was cut to the ground and lost consciousness. It was really impermanence for the former 100 Crow to land in such a field today. Sha Nuo sighed, with his hand aimed at Crow's heart, and mercilessly squeezed the infinite bullet fire spear to send the resourceful Captain Black Cat for the last time. Zangao on the side saw this scene, and turned his head a little unbearable. Anyway, he was once his own captain. Although Kuro was cold-blooded and ruthless, he only regarded his subordinates as pawns and abandoned everyone for his own life, but Zanga said that he was not sentimental. After Sha Nuo killed Kuro, in addition to gaining a little power value, the voice of mission completion also sounded in her mind. He didn't check it for the first time, and instead squatted beside Kuro, and activated the pickup ability of the system at him. Ding, get, silent step. Ding, get, spoon. But it was Kuro's two signature tricks that he touched out. Silent footwork is a silent footwork that uses your toes to step on the ground at high speed. It is really amazing. Compared with the shave in the 6 styles, although the explosiveness of the sonic boom is less, the victory does not make a sound when it is launched, and it does not have a power to move around. As for the spoon, this kind of aimless attack method is not very suitable for Sha Nuo, who already has 6 types. Instead, try to combine silent steps with 6 forms to develop new fusion moves. This is not a difficult task for Sha Nuo, who has upgraded the 6th form to the advanced level. Jabra can both develop advanced techniques like iron body punching through the fusion of 6 styles. There is no reason why Sha Nuo will be weaker than them in this respect. This is his confidence. After solving Kuro, Sha Nuo inserted the Kuro reward order from Monka next to his body, and then greeted others including Zanga to leave. Kuro said that he had notified Marine that he should have come, and he wanted to leave soon. As for the younger crew members of the Black Cat pirate group, they were tied up by Sha Nuo and left at the entrance of the village, and handed over to the villagers to send them off. Zangaoyo wanted to ask for affection, but after thinking about it, the other party would not listen at all, so he had no choice but to give up. Hey, Usopp, how about it, do you want to consider being my companion and going to sea with me? On the way, Sha Nuo spoke again and sent an invitation to Usopp. Chapter 31. But this time, Usopp didn't make any excuses. He just thought about it with a little hesitation, and said with firm eyes. You go to the pier and wait for me first, I'll follow it. After speaking, he turned around and ran towards the villa on the mountain without stopping. Zoro and Nami are a little confused, but Sha Nuo smiles knowingly. I know that Usopp has actually made up his mind, but before leaving, he wants to be alone with a girl. Usopp sprinted all the way, and soon he came to a corner of the villa. Using the secret door he dug out by himself, he sneaked in, climbed the familiar tree, and saw Kaya who was lying on the bed pale. Kaya. Usopp's eyes showed reluctance, but his eyes quickly became firm again. Usopp. As if sensing something, Kaya opened her eyes weakly, and the first person she saw was Usopp sitting on the tree. It's so slow, what the guy Usopp is doing, Marine is coming soon. On the deck of the Blue Dragon, Nami was a little bored waiting, couldn't help but slap the lion beside him with a punch. You fellow, don't be lazy for me. I slept for so long just now, work harder for me. Wow, Niche woke up holding a broom, feeling exceptionally wronged. It's not that it wants to sleep on its own, it's just being given to hypnosis. When he thought of this, it was so angry that it looked aside with unkind eyes and looked aside Zangao, who was also doing handyman cleaning work silently. Is he not coming? Nami had just issued this guess when he saw a figure rushing towards the top of the cliff in the distance. Waiting for a long time, everyone. Usopp waved his hands and rushed to the Azure Dragon with a smile. Ha ha ha, without me, Captain Usopp, how could your sailing be happier, what a majestic ship. Before he finished his bragging words, he was immediately impressed after he got close to seeing the full picture of the Azure Dragon. Staring at the majestic and mighty Azure Dragon in front of him, he kept making CJ sounds in his mouth. Hurry up and get on the boat. Don't delay, Marine will be there after a while. If you want to go, you can't go. Sha Nuo greeted with a smile. Received, Captain, Captain. The captain should be me. You are thinking about fart, ha ha ha. Joyous laughter resounded above this ocean. The Blue Dragon lifted its anchor and disappeared in this sea in a blink of an eye, the birthplace of Usopp. About 2 hours later, a marine warship slowly emerged from the other side of the sea level, and soon came to the coastline of Silab village. Rows of marine soldiers, with short silver hair in one, wearing a big coat with the word, Justice, on the back, a windshield on the neck, a weird weapon on the back, and a few cigars on their arms. Led by the old smoker who was more ferocious than Zoro, he walked onto the island. As soon as they arrived at the entrance of the village, they found the Black Cat pirate group who had been tied up and fainted, waiting for a crew. Sure enough, it is the notorious Black Cat pirates. It seems that we are a step late. They should have been resolved by someone. Check their identities and see if their current captain, Hypnosis Master Zanga, is in there. Quote. The familiar clothes and pirate logo on the crew made the old smoker with 2 cigars in his mouth recognized at a glance, and gave orders to the surrounding Marines. Yes, Colonel Smoker. The Marines immediately began to disperse, and the old smoker also glanced at another corpse on the ground. Beside the corpse, there was also a reward order. Smoker picked it up, then looked at the appearance of the corpse on the ground, and couldn't help but raise his brow. Interestingly, the former Black Cat pirate captain, 100K Luo, who was arrested and put to death by Marine 3 years ago, was able to come back to life and was killed again here. I think it should have been killed 3 years ago. It's not really 100 tricks. It's just a substitute for the dead. The deity is hiding in hiding. Looking at clothes, they are more expensive suits, and they should have a certain status in this village. When the time comes, ask the villagers about him to get the general situation. That fellow Monka is really a disgrace to Marine. I thought he had done a good job for Marine, but he was turned around and left such a huge hidden danger. I really don't know where he has the ability and face to be promoted to a colonel and dare to engage in dictatorship in small towns and bases. What do Marines who identify criminals with rewards and manage promotions and jobs do? Quote. It seems that the interior of Marine is getting more and more decayed. I thought it would be too much in the Grand Line. I didn't expect it to be especially bad in the East Blue area. Fortunately, Mr. Garp came to East Blue for some reason. He has not left yet and has received an order to send Monka to Naval Headquarters for judgment. It just happened to add a crime of malfeasance to Monka. By the way, see if Mr. Garp can be asked to rectify it. This ocean. The hateful and upright smoker is very uncomfortable with East Blue's decay, and he has no good impression of the perpetrators such as Monka. Although Smoker has Logia's devil fruit ability and strong physical skills, he is a lone ranger who often does not obey the orders of his boss. Therefore, even if he was the best student among the new generation of students led by Zephyr, his promotion path was difficult. He was squeezed out and suppressed, and he was transferred to East Blue's Logue Town as a garrison colonel. Hina, the black prisoner whose grades are inferior to him, is active on the Grand Line and has a good reputation among Marine. Compared to his current situation, he is much better. Brew, brew, brew. Just as the old smoker was angry, the phone bug in his hand suddenly rang. After the call was connected, a female voice came from the phone worm. Colonel Smoker, in the hidden corner of the island south, the ship of the Black Cat pirate group has been found. There are only a few people left on it. No trace of Captain Hypnosis Shizangao was found inside the ship, including in the nearby waters. Quote. I see, thanks for your hard work, Tashigi. After speaking, Smoker hung up the phone and got a report from the Marines, but no news of praise was found. Did he escape? Even the hundreds of Clows who had been hidden for a long time were found and killed, but he escaped unharmed. Or is the plan to kill Clow triggered by him? There is no reason. Smoker frowned and thought, no matter what the situation is, since he escaped, it means that he still has some ability. Go back and notify the headquarters, and the amount of reward for him will be added to the price of 3 million. After making up his mind, Smoker greeted the Marines to arrest the remaining crew members of the Black Cat pirate group, by the way, sent someone to the villa on the mountain to explain the situation, and by the way, to listen to the news of Crow. At the same time, Zangao, who was cleaning on the deck, sneezed and rubbed his nose. Wow, the niche on the side gave Zangao angrily a paw, and all the sneezes just sprayed on his hair. You smelly lion. The two began to fight for a while. Also restless, there is Usopp, who has been yelling there since getting on the boat. It was the first time to board the Shanghai pirate ship, and it was still such a majestic pirate ship, which made him feel a little excited. This ship is amazing. After visiting the entire Qinglong, Usopp nodded with satisfaction. It's really the ship that my captain Usopp rides. Only such a ship can set off my identity, ha ha ha, it hurts. It's noisy, please be quiet. Nami, who was reading, couldn't bear it, and gave Usopp 2 punches, and the latter immediately became honest. Zoro fell asleep on the side to recover his strength and injuries. And Sha Nuo is looking at the rewards for completing this task. Ding, quest, smash the conspiracy, save the village completed, get reward, 400 points. 400 points of power is more than the power obtained by killing Buggy to complete the mission. At any rate, he is also a trainee crew member of One Piece. Look at Shanks and then look at yourself. How did you mix up like this, Buggy? With 400 points of power, plus those rewarded before, as well as some points of power in the daily lottery, the current strength of Sha Nuo has reached 3,000 points. Even in the first half of the Grand Line, as long as you don't kill yourself, you will definitely be able to run wild. Ding, mission, Worlds No. 1 Sniper Companion as completed and rewards. Top combat experience, observation hockey foreseeing the future, Paramesha Rusty Fruit. Top combat experience. You must know that every time Sha Nuo gets a strong increase in strength, although it can be integrated, but it does not accumulate much combat experience. He is just the upmaster who came from the earth to the world of One Piece. He was born in a peaceful era. At best, he has only fought in Europe, like the experience and means of confronting the enemy in life and death and killing the opponent. He didn't have any reaction at all. Being able to defeat Menka and Buggy is also relying on his own tyrannical strength that is more than that of the opponent, and only by reducing dimensionality can he use his strength to kill them abruptly. And now, top-level combat experience can greatly make up for this shortcoming of Sha Nuo, giving him sufficient experience against the enemy. Even if he encounters an opponent of the same level, he is completely worthy of his own strength. Played incisively and vividly. And with top-level combat experience, he will win in the end with a great probability. Even if he faces an opponent 1 level higher than him, he has great confidence to win. This is the result of top-level combat experience. Sure enough, it is worthy of being the world's #1 mission, and Sha Nuo is already very satisfied to get this reward. Not to mention there are 2 more. Observation hockey's ability to predict the future is obviously an advanced application technique. For Sha Nuo, who is still at the intermediate level of Conqueror's Hockey, it is equivalent to taking observation hockey from Conqueror's Hockey alone and upgrading it to a high level. What is the ability to predict the future? Pervert need not go into details. Although it is only short-lived, all that can be understood on the sea are the top-notch people. In some respects, Sha Nuo also has the same capital as that group of people. Then there is the Rusty Fruit of Paramesha. Sure enough, after completing the task of recruiting Zoro as a companion last time, the system rewarded a devil fruit. This time Usopp boarded the ship and rewarded another one. Rusty Fruit. Although he played less than half an episode, Sha Nuo was very impressed by it. This is also an extremely powerful devil fruit that can rust any object. The ability user is the apprentice Zephyr taught, Colonel Marine Shun, who rusted Zoro's famous knife Shizu as soon as he came out. And in the process of fighting against Zoro, he played a good physical skill, rusted Zoro's joints, and even made Zoro unable to move his whole body. However, if half of the opponent's body is rusted, it can be interrupted by another person, and the rusted body will return to its original state. If it weren't for a Firebird star from Usopp God tier, I'm afraid Zoro would have hated it on the spot. It is also a classic example of a powerful devil fruit encountering a rookie user. Shun, which can be killed by a Firebird star, obviously cannot exert the powerful power of the Rusty Fruit. If the Rusty Fruit awakens, it will rust all the things around it and use it together with Chop Chop Fruit's splitting ability, and it will definitely exert unparalleled destructive power. Even without awakening, a simple development, rusting can also cause amazing power. Sha Nuo is very satisfied with the reward of this devil fruit. Looking at the yellow-black grape-shaped devil fruit covered with spiral patterns in the system space, Sha Nuo thought about finding an opportunity to take it out and eat it. By the way, when it comes to devil fruit, I don't know if there is any other devil fruit in the whole East Blue besides the slippery fruit. It's impossible for East Blue to be so big, there is only one, right? With such thoughts in mind, Sha Nuo took out the devil fruit radar and lightly pressed his finger on the switch. Suddenly, a bright yellow light group appeared in a certain direction of the radar. Well, sure enough, there is no more. East Blue is worthy of being the weakest sea. Wait. Sha Nuo rubbed her eyes, she couldn't believe it. Huh, I didn't expect it to be there. What a windfall. Immediately, Sha Nuo came to the spirit, got up and gave orders. Brothers, it's sailing. What? Whether it was Zangoiki, Nami Usopp, who was arguing, or Zoro who woke up with his eyes open, they all looked at Sha Nuo with a smile on his face. I feel the power of the devil attracting me. Sha Nuo explained this, and suddenly Nami's eyes glowed brightly. Nananani, could it be that you feel the position of devil fruit again? The new devil fruit. Zoro also sat up straight, looking interested. Devil fruit. Where? Usopp and Zanga, who are new on the ship, are a bit unclear, so there are some question marks on their foreheads. Although they had known that Sha Nuo was the capable person of the legendary devil fruit during their voyage during this period of time, they did not know much about other aspects. Yes, I seem to feel it again, the location of another devil fruit. Yoshi. Everyone cheered me up and set sail at full speed. Before Sha Nuo finished speaking, she was interrupted by the high-spirited Nami, her eyes gleaming with money, greeted Usopp and Zanga for work. Although I don't know what's going on, now that there is a goal, the captain has issued an order, and the two of them still follow the instructions very obediently. The Azure Dragon followed Sha Nuo's instructions and proceeded towards a certain direction. After a short while, he drove into a certain sea area, and a small island in the distance was clearly reflected in everyone's eyes. At the same time as the small island, there are the dark clouds around the island that are shining with thunderous light. That island is the legendary Treasure Island. Nami and Zanga blurted out at the same time. Is it the legendary Treasure Island? I have heard of it. Even Usopp has a surprised expression, obviously he has heard it. Yes, it is a very famous island in the pirate circle, with strange legends. Nami nodded. Strange legend, Zoro wondered. It is said that people who approach that island will offend the gods. It is an island that cannot be approached, Zanga added faintly from the side. After he had just said this sentence, the Azure Dragon had already sailed into this sea area. Suddenly, the pouring rain poured down the sky, and accompanied by the sound of thunder and waves, even a treasure ship like the Qinglong was shaken a little. Is the legend true? Is this thunder the anger of the gods? Usopp immediately hugged the ship railing and yelled there. If there really is a god, just cut him off. Zoro smiled confidently, his eyes sharp. However, the existence of the legendary islands and gods fits well with the location of devil fruit. It seems that I should feel good about it. Sha Nuo said with a bright smile. He had already guessed that the treasure island in front should be the so-called Gen Beast Island. There are all kinds of rare and exotic animals on it, as well as Kamen, who has been in the box for 20 years. The island is surrounded by storms and thunder, and the waiting pirate boats can't get in at all, and those powerful pirate groups don't bother to come here, because the secrets of this island are not known to outsiders. Therefore, the devil fruit on this island has not been found and taken away. Sha Nuo thought silently and moved her wrist. It seems that this devil fruit, which has no idea what kind of ability, is still going to be cheaper for me. Everyone, head towards the treasure island. Oh. The legend of the treasure island, the possible treasures on it, the unknown adventure, and the extremely likely devil fruit, all make the legendary group full of fighting spirit. Even Zanga, who worked together, was infected by this atmosphere. When he was sailing, the thought came up in his heart. It seems that staying on this ship is not a bad thing. Not long after, under the super performance of the Qinglong, she drove her horsepower and quickly landed around the island. Still leaving the niche to watch the ship, Sha Nuo and others took Zanga to the island to check the situation. Anyway, no other pirates will come here today, and there will be nothing wrong with Luliki alone. In the forest of the island, because the light is too dark, the atmosphere of the whole island looks a bit eerie and strange. Nami walked in the forefront and said enthusiastically, "It is said that there is an amazing treasure sleeping somewhere in this place. So far, many pirates have boarded here, but all of them are too afraid to find the treasure. Just ran away. Excessive fear. For example, a pirate suddenly turned into a wild boar face in the middle of the night, and he also had a longer and longer beard, and finally became a man who strangled himself to death like a snake." Cheat. Usopp felt a little hairy after hearing it. Does the snake-like beard refer to this thing? As Sha Nuo said, she picked up the rabbit snake passing by on the ground. Ah, Yes, it should be this, it really looks like a beard. Ah, it has appeared. The timid duo of Nami and Usopp gave out a scream at the same time, one hid behind Zoro, and the other stuck Zanga tightly. Don't you already have the power of devil fruit? They shouldn't hurt you, are they so scared? Zoro was speechless to Nami, who was hiding behind him, but he responded with a smooth pink punch. No road race. Girls, no matter how powerful, are always inherently resistant to such creatures. Nami unceremoniously gave Zoro a fist, and Zanga, who looked at him, was particularly envious. I really thought I was the one who was beaten. He looked at Usopp, who was stuck on him, and couldn't help but let out a sigh that a man could understand. A combination of rabbit and snake. It's really interesting. Sha Nuo poked the rabbit snake he was holding, feeling very funny. Get out. Suddenly, there was such a gloomy sound over the dense forest. Who is it? Usopp hugged Zangao tightly, and after saying this, he retracted his head again. Get out. The old man is the patron saint of this island. If you want to survive, get out of this island immediately for me. Patron saint, are you pirates? Yes, sure enough, it's a pirate. Wait, why does the god ask this question? Nami caught the blind spot and asked. The voice did not respond positively. Listen, you dared to step into the forest and try again. At that moment, will you be punished by God and be broken into pieces? In response, Sha Nuo smiled slightly and put the rabbit snake in her hand back on the ground. I said, Uncle, we don't have any interest in the rare beasts on the island. We are here just to look for treasures and devil fruit. Devil fruit, how is it possible? The voice retorted for the first time. Although the old man had heard the rumors when he was a pirate before, it was just a legend. There is no such thing on this island. When it was still a pirate. No, the old man doesn't miss the things that happened so long ago. No, I don't want to listen to the things before. This is your own exposure. Several people were unable to complain. Slow wordy, you group of pirates, accept the sanctions of the gods. As soon as the voice fell, many wood thorns flew out of the grass, and various huge boulders were sprinkled in the sky. It should have activated some kind of mechanism to launch an attack. Crack, Zoro put his thumb against the hilt and pulled out, and the sound of Zangao taking out the sharp blade ring sounded at the same time. Don't be so troublesome, Sha Nuo just smiled, then snapped her fingers casually. Float. Suddenly, the wooden thorns and boulders that hit the group of them all stopped strangely in the air. CJ, is this the power of devil fruit? Seeing Sha Nuo unleash such power casually, the eyes of Usopp, who saw devil fruit's ability for the first time, were shining. What a great ability. Zangao was also shocked and inexplicably muttered in his mouth. What's going on? Is it some kind of demon method? This panicked remark revealed his location. Even if there was no voice, Sha Nuo captured his location through observation haki. As a result, a strange uncle whose hair was like a potted plant and whose figure was trapped in a treasure chest appeared in front of everyone. Sha Nuo is the kind of pleasant, well-organized and reasonable guy. Now that the Lord has appeared, just sit down and have a cup of tea to make things clear. Ever since, Kamen's experience and a series of matters after the discovery of the treasure were also learned by Sha Nuo and the others. It's amazing, Uncle Carmen, I have been guarding here for 20 years. Usopp, who is particularly yearning for adventures and pirate boys, makes no secret of his admiration. In the past 20 years, I have basically visited all corners of the island, and I haven't found what you call devil fruit. I have tasted all the fruits on the island, and there is nothing unusual. For this group of young pirates, Kamen, who was once a pirate, is also very fond of them. In particular, they did not dislike their appearance at all, and were willing to chat with him, which moved him very much. I feel that devil fruit is not in this forest, but on that peak. Sha Nuo smiled and pointed to the highest mountain in Genyu Island. What, could it be that Uncle Carmen has guarded the treasure for 20 years, but devil fruit is not a success? Usopp exclaimed when he heard the words. Other people are also guessing like this. But Sha Nuo knew that the 5 treasure chests on the top of the peak were all empty, and devil fruit should be in a corner of the peak. Devil fruit, the legendary secret treasure on the sea, is indeed qualified as a treasure. When Kamen heard this, his eyes also showed excitement. Immediately, he looked at the rare beasts around him, his eyes lightened. If you really find devil fruit in the treasure chest, give it to you. For me, that kind of thing is useless. Huh, is this okay, uncle? Ha ha ha, I am only interested in gold and silver treasures, and with these rare beasts to accompany me, I feel very satisfied. After a few people talked, they soon came to the peak of the treasure chest. Just leave it to me. With Sha Nuo's tiptoe, lion fruit's ability was activated, and the whole person quickly flew to the top of the mountain. In a blink of an eye, I came to the top and saw the 5 lone treasure chests. After opening them one by one, it was really empty inside. If you are not here, then you are inside this mountain. Sha Nuo looked around for a while, there was no sign of devil fruit placed at all, and could not help making such a guess. Then a red light flashed in his eyes, and observation hockey foresees the future launch. In front of his eyes, like a horse looking for flowers, quickly showed some very short pictures of the future. So that's it, in this position of the mountain. Seeing the picture of him getting devil fruit from the mountain, he couldn't help but smile, and took out Yunce from the system space. It's so slow, Sha Nuo, is it so hard for him to open a box? At the foot of the mountain, the group was a little puzzled by Sha Nuo's slow motion. But immediately, a bright blue blade light appeared in front of his eyes. It seemed to be a powerful slash that could split the sky, cutting straight on the top of the mountain. Along with the appearance of the slash, there was also a voice that was not rushed or slow. Flying slash, cross slash. Ha! In an instant, among the shocking gazes of the Zoro Usopp people, the entire extremely high mountain, from top to bottom, split into 4 pieces in a cross shape. And looking at the surface of the split stone, it seems to have been artificially cut. No, seriously, Sha Nuo, so amazing. The eyes of several people couldn't conceal the tremor in their hearts, and Zangaowen couldn't help but swallowed his saliva. He touched his neck, which was still a little cold, and was extremely grateful in his heart. Fortunately, when he was in Shi Luobu village, he didn't do any extreme behavior, he was very aware of current affairs. This is the brave sea warrior. Usopp's eyes stared straight up, and he yearned for this kind of strength very much. With this kind of strength, then maybe Koko Yaxi village, Arlong and the others. Nami is also full of eyes, a different kind of thought, which constantly rises and expands in his heart. And Zoro stared at the cut Shifeng, his eyes kept running. I can't do this level of slashing at all. Even Sha Nuo, a martial artist who is not good at swordsmanship, can do this. So, who is the strongest person? What is your level? For a moment, he deeply felt his own insignificance, and the desire for strength in his heart became more urgent. I have to become stronger. Sha Nuo's figure was tossed around in the cut mountain peak and gravel, moving in a certain direction purposefully. Found it. Soon, Sha Nuo's eyes were certain, and she found a strange stone. In the center of this stone, it seems to be inlaid with some strange brown-gray fruit. Moonwalk started. Sha Nuo's figure came to the fruit in a blink of an eye, and with a probing move, she took the fruit in her hand. Looking at the brown-gray banana-shaped fruit covered with spiral patterns, Sha Nuo nodded. With a wave of cloud strategy, after clearing all the rubble in front of him, he stepped on the moonwalk and returned to the bottom of the mountain. The group was shocked by Sha Nuo's hand a long time ago. After seeing him come down, they were still a little shocked. It wasn't until Sha Nuo took the knife and stood up that the group came back to their senses. How about Sha Nuo, did you find anything, devil fruit? There is no treasure in the box, I found devil fruit in the mountain. With that said, Sha Nuo weighed the devil fruit in his hand. This is the legendary devil fruit. Why does it look like a rotten banana? It doesn't look good. Usopp leaned closer, blinking vigorously to look at it. Yeah, it's so much uglier than the peach-shaped sakura I ate last time. Nami shrugged as well. Sakura peach. Nami, have you eaten devil fruit? Usopp keenly caught the point of Nami's words. Ah, that was the last time we found devil fruit. It was my gift on board as a newcomer. I ate it. It was Paramesh's slippery fruit. Usopp was envious of his real name, but soon, he thought of something, his eyes lighted up and said. I am also a newcomer who just got on the boat, so can I get a devil fruit too? Yes, this is what Sha Nuo said, as long as you want, there is no problem eating this devil fruit. It's just that I see where this fruit was born, its shape, color, and appearance, but I think it's probably Zone's. If you don't mind, just eat it. Zone. Usopp choked. On the way here, Sha Nuo has already informed them about devil fruit, and Usopp naturally also knows something about it. In other words, could this devil fruit turn people into animals? Yes, Sha Nuo nodded, and then smiled wickedly. It may also be in the shape of pig fruit, such as wild boar, porcupine, etc. Wild boar, porcupine. Usopp refreshed his own picture in his mind, and couldn't help but shudder, shook his head quickly to clear the picture, and coughed pretendingly. If you want to be a brave sea warrior and an excellent sniper, you don't need the power of devil fruit for the time being. What you need is the hard training of your personal will and the improvement of your physical fitness. Leave this devil fruit to praise. He is also a rookie on board, and I can wait for the next one. Usopp patted his skinny chest. His expression of self-sacrificing righteousness was awe-inspiring. How about praise? You are also a newcomer on my boat. Do you want to think about this devil fruit? Do I have a share too? Zanga, who had been listening in silence, couldn't help being taken aback, and pointed to himself in disbelief. He thought he was just a coolie handyman, but he didn't expect to be regarded as a member of the ship, and he was willing to give him such a legendary treasure on the sea as a gift to board the ship. This made him really touched, and couldn't help pulling up his sleeves and wiping away his tears. I am so happy. At this point, he was completely integrated into the Sha Nuo pirate group and became a true member of the ship. However, moved to moved, happy to happy, Praise High still declined the kindness of Sha Nuo, this devil fruit. He is a big pirate with 9 million berry offering a reward. I don't know that it has added 3 million now, reaching 12 million berry. He can become the captain of the Black Cat pirate group, overwhelm a group of pirates, and himself very powerful. What's more, he still has the hypnosis technique as an auxiliary, so he won't bet on the ability of a Zone's pig fruit. Sha Nuo showed him all kinds of incredible, and he also has a deep understanding of devil fruit. Then he said what kind of pig fruit this fruit is. It is very likely that Zanga is very grateful for Sha Nuo's kindness, but he is very moved and refuses. Well, in fact, Sha Nuo just said casually, he really didn't know what devil fruit was. But the banana-like appearance, and also appearing on this Gen Beast Island, indeed has a great possibility of Zone's ability. Zanga and Usopp were unwilling to eat it, so Sha Nuo naturally put it away. He is not willing to try it himself. Anyway, there are various follow-up fruits such as the rusty fruit rewarded by the system. Just as Zanga thought, he doesn't need to gamble on abilities anymore. Let's leave it to the next person on the boat, those in need. As for Nami's proposal, I want to sell it for 100 million berry. Sha Nuo won't do it with such a low usage rate. Devil fruit got the hand, and they stopped delaying on the island. After chatting with Carmen, they waved goodbye. The reason why this sea area is so dangerous is that in addition to this storm, there are also all kinds of weird beasts. Not only are there rare beasts on the island, but also in the sea, and they are even more fierce. You have to be careful. What? This is what Kamen told Sha Nuo and the others on the coast before sailing. Then as soon as he finished speaking, in front of the azure dragon, a huge crab with a huge body, a bright red color, and a wretched smiling face appeared. It was the one that Buggy encountered in the original version with the help of Kamen after landing on Genju Island for various reasons. If it weren't for Alvida's help, Buggy God Tier would become the crab's belly. It can be seen that from then on, Buggy God Tier's conqueror's luck quietly began to wake up. It's decided, I'll have crab scrambled eggs tonight. Apart from improving Sha Nuo's dinner, this wretched red crab couldn't make much trouble, and ended up with the same ending as before. This time it was Zanga who had become a member of the ship. He was extremely energetic. Let's have a fun dance together before dinner. The sharp ring easily cut the crab into several pieces, showing that he was not weak, and he danced backwards on the deck. In the original version, he was chased by Marine to an island where dance was popular after Kuro was defeated by Luffy, participated in a local dance competition, and easily won the championship. His dance is indeed very pleasing to the eye, and it can be seen that he has also worked hard. The position of dancer on the ship is very suitable for him. If another musician is paired with him, it would be even better. At night, a group of 5 people and a lion gathered around the dining table, eating crab scrambled eggs prepared by Sha Nuo, and chatting there. Let's find an excellent chef. My cooking skills are not very high. Otherwise, I will waste it every time I encounter a delicious food. I don't know where I can eat it and where I can't eat it. Sha Nuo took a sip of crab soup and suggested. The meat of this big red crab is very delicious, and the dishes made are quite delicious. However, Sha Nuo still feels that he has not mastered the correct way of doing it. After all, his cooking skills are only elementary, and it is not easy to be able to cook it on the table. This crab may taste more delicious if the recipe is right, and a good chef can rationally adjust the balance of nutrition to the crew's body, so that they are energetic during the voyage while reducing the chance of getting sick. As far as the chef is concerned, I know that there is such a peculiar place. I should be able to find someone who meets our expectations. Zanga responded, chewing on the scrambled eggs with crab meat. That's the sea restaurant Baratie. According to rumors, the owner of this restaurant was run by the captain of the once famous chef pirate group. Many villain chefs with superb cooking skills came here. Although it looks very vicious, and the attitude towards customers who have no money is very unfriendly, but as long as you can afford berry, you can definitely eat the whole piece of East Blue's most delicious food. This is a rumor that is popular on East Blue. I have also heard of it, and I have never eaten there. It sounds pretty good, Sha Nuo smiled. Then go there, Baratie, a restaurant on the sea. But do we have money, in case we don't have money? Before Usopp had finished speaking, Sha Nuo placed stacks of banknotes on the table. The last time Zoro's partner mission was completed, the system rewarded a full 100 million berry. It has to be said that the numerous banknotes placed in front of them are still very visually impactful. Awesome Sha Nuo, our pirates group seems to have a lot of savings deposits. Nami's eyes gleamed bling bling, seemingly a random test. Ah, not much, just over 100 million berry. 100 million berry. Nami's heart jumped when he heard the words. Yoshi, I have plenty of money. I went to the sea restaurant Baratie to eat food and find a chef. Usopp held up his fork and tableware, fighting spiritedly. Wow, the lion niche next to him responded and concentrated on the food in front of him. The reason that allowed it to stay on this ship despite the hard work, in addition to the powerful strength, is that he can eat the food he wants to eat every day. So, after deciding on the next voyage, the group headed towards the sea restaurant Baratie, which is further away from Logue Town. However, there was an episode in the middle. On the way to Baratie, when the Blue Dragon passed by a certain piece of gravel, it found Zoro's two younger brothers, Johnny and Joseph, hidden here. Joseph got scurvy because of malnutrition. Johnny couldn't help but just saw the mighty Qinglong passing by. Seeing the pirate flag logo above, the two bounty hunters hid immediately to protect themselves. It was Sha Nuo who captured the two with observation hockey, and let Zoro go out to get them on the boat for medical treatment. I am really grateful to brother Sha Nuo for his life-saving grace. Johnny and Joseph made a big bow at Sha Nuo and patted their chests to express their willingness to be a guide to take them to the sea restaurant. During the period, they were still surprised that Zoro became a pirate, but then they saw the style of Sha Nuo, and after understanding the whole story, they stood firmly on Zoro's side. No matter what you become, you will always be our big brother. Well, these two guys who changed their jobs from bounty hunters to fishermen because of their lack of kung fu, have very rich feelings. With such a small episode, after taking a boat with two live treasures that adjust the atmosphere, the journey is not so boring and boring. That's the captain of the Black Cat Pirate Group, who is offering a reward of 12 million berries. Big Pirates, Hypnosis Master Zanga. How can he be in this boat like Big Brother? It's so noisy, can't you allow me to change to a crew member? In other words, my bounty is only 9 million berry, why has it become 12 million again? The noise on the boat also brought a different kind of vitality. During this time, Sha Nuo took out the yellow-black grape-shaped devil fruit and the rusty fruit from the space backpack on a quiet night. It's terrible. It was still the familiar and disgusting smell, but he resisted and swallowed it. Looking at the metal that was instantly rusted and dissipated in the palm of his hand, Sha Nuo's face showed a satisfied smile. With such a powerful force, there is another assassin against the enemy. When Sha Nuo studied the development of rusty fruit, when a group of people went to the sea restaurant Baratie, Barry's pirate clown Buggy, who who offers a reward of 15 million yuan, also obeyed. Smoker is in the office, dealing with the latest information. He has learned about Krabatel, the true face and conspiracy of Beiji Crow, from the villagers of Silib village and the crew of the Black Cat pirate group. Rao, an excellent marine who came down from the Grand Line, couldn't help but sigh with Crow's resourcefulness. If he really succeeds, then maybe what kind of disaster will be caused. However, it is worth mentioning that the villagers said that it was 3 young people who claimed to be the Black Cat Baijik Luo. One was young and handsome, the other was a green algae head holding 3 knives, and the other was a pretty girl with orange hair. Do you have the strength of the swordsman level? What kind of group is it? Smoker remembered the tree branch Sha Nuo had threatened the villagers to cut off at the entrance of the village, and squinted his eyes. Swordsmen of this level of strength are relatively rare even on the Grand Line. If the amount of reward is corresponding, it should be at least 70 million or more. The 3 knives with green hair should be the most famous bounty hunter on East Blue, pirate hunter Rorano Azoro. It seems that the news from the G153 branch that he will be a pirate is true. That group of fools, there are so many pirates in the sea, many of them are forced by this group of dirty assholes. As the place where Monka was stationed, Smoker was also very concerned about what happened in Shelts. He learned the whole story from the marine soldiers at the base, and because of this, he felt dull. Rorano Azoro, the strongest East Blue bounty hunter, and the unknown young man who can easily slash through the air and defeat Monka. If these 2 people are grouped together, the potential danger is greatly increased, and Smoker took a closer look at the death report of the clown buggy. The destruction of the buggy pirate group should have been done by those people. The deputy captain's animal trainer Moki obviously has 3 sword injuries on his body. It happened to be during the time that the group left Shelterstown. Moreover, how does the death injury on Buggy the Clown look like the damage caused by Marine 6 Styles? Interesting, the swordsman who slashed out of the sky, the pirate hunter, and the guy who knows the 6 Styles, this combination it is enough to set off a monstrous wave in East Blue. It seems that something has to be done. Smoker was thinking there, when suddenly the door of the room knocked. Come in. With a squeak, a cute girl wearing square glasses walked in. How, Tashigi? Yes, there is news from Colonel Mouse from Marine's 16th branch that law and order are in good order in his jurisdiction, and there is nothing wrong with it. Tashigi said, his face hesitated again. Don't mother-in-law, just say anything. Yes, Colonel Mouse also said that he is very safe here, and I hope Colonel Smoker will not stretch his hands so long, and just manage his 1-acre 3-point land. Do you think I am his kind of villain who fights for power? Smoker snorted in anger and disdain. If it weren't for Crow's affairs, he knew that even the weakest East Blue could crouch a tiger, hide a dragon, and could not help but sweep away the somewhat inattentive attitude of the past, and began to inquire about all kinds of abnormal matters. In the bar in Logue Town, he occasionally heard other people discussing about the Murlocs and other things about Kokoyashi village, so he wouldn't be nosy. It's just that Monka, who is also Colonel Marine, did something to humiliate Marine. According to the information he got, it is very likely that Colonel Mouse and Monka belong to the same type of person. It's all dirty assholes inside Marine. Smoker took the cigar from his mouth, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Since the mouse refuses to tell me the truth, then I will take it personally. Tashigi, be prepared to leave immediately after I have processed these documents. Yes, Colonel Smoker, Tashigi responded, then trot out and walked out. Smoker sat down slowly, constantly reviewing the documents in his hand. What pirate hunter, what flying swordsman? Smoker put them all aside, planning to clean up the worms inside Marine first, and then talk about it. If the mouse is really like Monka, covering the sky and ruining the residents, then Smoker will never show mercy. What? The mouse and him are both Colonel Marine and are of equal rank. I am an excellent Marine brought out by Zephyr Admiral. I belong to the direct line of Naval Headquarters. You are a colonel of the 4 Seas Division in a small area. Let's see who we can get who. After making up his mind, Smoker stopped talking, only the sound of salsa touching the tip of the pen with the paper in the room. When Smoker was preparing to make a difference, Sha Nuo and his team also arrived at the destination on the Blue Dragon. Oh, is this the sea restaurant Baratie? Usopp looked at a restaurant with fish heads and fish tails, more like a restaurant with more boats than restaurants, and couldn't help but be surprised. This is the most famous restaurant in East Blue, Baratie, with the title of Battle Restaurant. Zan squeezed the brim of his hat. I'm here for the first time too. It was also the first time that Nuo, Nami and Zoro could not help but look up and down the whole ship. Okay, let's go in and enjoy the food. Usopp cheered and planned to get off the boat. As a result, before he acted, he was immediately grabbed by Johnny and Joseph, who were a little worried and uneasy beside him. What's wrong? He turned his head a little puzzled, and then, ah, Marine's warship. Why are Marine's warships here? Behind the Azure Dragon, a Marine's exclusive warship was slowly moving towards this side. It seems that I can exercise before eating. Zoro smiled and drew out the knife. Zanga also dangled the ring of the sharp blade with his fingers. Usopp, Nami and Johnny retreated to the rear, where they cheered. What? It's a pirate flag that I haven't seen before. As the warship approached, a frivolous voice rang from the deck. But the boat is quite beautiful and magnificent. It would be a shame to give you these vulgar pirates. A tall man wearing a white patterned suit, pink hair, a scar on his face, and an iron ring glove appeared in the eyes of everyone. I'm Naval Headquarters Lieutenant, Iron Fist Fendi. Hey, who is the captain? Give me a name. Fanebooty Marine, who claims to be the lieutenant of the headquarters, has sharp brows, and stares at the Azure Dragon in front of him constantly. After Zangao heard this name, he couldn't help but raise his eyes and look around. I don't know why, he always feels like it's the same at first sight to this person by this name. Naval Headquarters, Iron Fist. Excuse me, all I know of is the only one with the title of Naval Headquarters Iron Fist, Mr. Garp. Nuo responded and stood up. I am the captain of this ship, Nuo. Huh, you know the name of the marine hero Mr. Garp. It seems that he is not a stupid pirate who doesn't know anything. Femdi was a little surprised, but then smiled confidently, and said, I am targeting Mr. Garp and vowing to inherit the name of marine hero from him. The nickname of Iron Fist is just a matter of time for me. Looking at his confident look, Nuo wanted to ask him, who gave you the courage to make you compare Garp? Liang Jingru. Huh, I've seen the two over there. I remember that they were a pair of bounty hunters who aimed at small people. Did they finally get caught by the pirates? From the corner of Femdi's eyes, he saw Johnny and Joseph. They dismissed a smile in their angry eyes, and couldn't help losing interest. Wait, is this the current captain of the Black Cat Pirates, Master Hypnosis, whose whereabouts are currently unknown and no traces? Suddenly, Femdi, who was uninterested, saw a character that surprised him, and the corner of his eyes constricted. East Blue is searching for your tracks, and I didn't expect to appear on an unknown pirate ship. This couldn't help but interest Fanebooty, although he didn't know why he saw this so-called hypnosis teacher, and he felt like it was at first sight, but Zangao's current identity as a pirate couldn't make him indifferent. And it's still in this East Blue, offering a reward of 12 million berries big pirates. Just so, let the incompetent Marines of the East Blue branch see the true strength of Naval Headquarters Lieutenant. Fanebooty, who was interested, directly unbuttoned the suit button on his body. It just makes you a warm-up exercise before my meal. Presumably the food after the battle will taste even more wonderful. As he said, he leapt forcefully at the mast of the warship and flew towards the opposite Qinglong. Is it the lieutenant of Naval Headquarters? Nuo smiled softly. Although I don't know how you became a lieutenant at your level, you should feel honored to be the first Marine lieutenant to be beaten by me. What? Femdi in midair almost laughed when he heard this. Sure enough, they are still a group of uncivilized pirates. In the weakest sea, they don't understand the sky and the earth, and don't understand the power of Naval Headquarters Lieutenant. Knowing Mr. Garp's name is just because this is his hometown, right? Thinking of this, Fendi shook his head, with a contemptuous smile on his lips. But the next second, the smile on his face froze. In his vision, Nuo, standing there, disappeared silently. What's the matter? Where is it? Fanebooty, who was stagnant in the air, couldn't help looking around, trying to find some clues. Found it. He subconsciously made a sound in his heart, but he found it. Before he was overjoyed, he saw a fist appearing in front of his eyes more and more enlarged. Boom! He only felt a heavy blow to his face, and the whole body flew back at a faster speed than when he flew. This is how the same thing. These were the last thoughts of Feinbooty before he fainted, and then he rolled his eyes and became unconscious. Lieutenant, seeing Feinbooty was punched into the sea and splashed water jets, before he floated from it, the deck suddenly became messy, and there was a woman's scream in between. Well, think it's the female companion who Feinbooty Lieutenant brought to taste the food, right? In a corner of the warship, a guy with a grim face and gray clothes glanced coldly at the Marines on the deck, then glanced at the Qinglong and the Sha Nuo and others on it. He could not help but withdraw his gaze and hide in the darkness. Middle. The effect is not bad. Sha Nuo fell on the deck and retracted his fist, nodding in satisfaction. Crow's silent steps do have a lot of merits. Although they don't have the explosive power of shaving, they are silent and more skillful. It can be considered that each has its own advantages and disadvantages. Awesome, Sha Nuo, big brother Sha Nuo. Behind Usopp, Joseph and Johnny gave thumbs up at the same time. Okay, the obtrusive guys are gone, let's go. Sha Nuo clapped her hands, and after leaving Johnny and Joseph to look at the store with Niche, he greeted Zoro Zangao and they went into the store together. Quote. Zangao glanced at the bubbling sea level last, shrugged and followed Sha Nuo's pace. The sea restaurant Baratie is well known, although sometimes the service attitude is very strange, but because the food is too delicious, people still come to eat. What, are you out of seats? At this time, inside the Baratie restaurant, the seats were already full, and many gorgeously dressed people were there to change their cups and laughed. Usopp looked around and quickly locked an empty table seat. Ah, there is no one there, let's go there. As he said, he raised his foot to walk over, but was stopped in front of him by a strong arm. I'm really sorry, this guest. Wearing a white apron and a fisherman's turban, with a fierce face but full of smiles, Patty, a famous violent chef on the sea, who is now a chef and combatant at the sea restaurant Baratie, rubbed his hands and said slightly flatteringly. That's the place reserved for Lieutenant Feinbooty of Naval Headquarters. He has booked it a long time ago. Please wait patiently for the time being. I will arrange for you to be seated immediately after which table of guests have finished their meal. Quote. Femdi, are you talking about the self-proclaimed Femdi? Usopp pointed his finger outside, and could vaguely hear some noises from the warship, such as, hurry up and save Lieutenant, and, it's not good, the arrested ghost Akin ran away. He said with a complacent expression. The so-called Lieutenant Femdi was easily defeated by the pirate group led by my uncle Usopp. Now he should faint and sink into the sea. There is no way to come in and eat. As soon as the voice fell, Patty's face became stiff, and the voice in the dining room was instantly quiet. He said they were pirates. You also said that Femdi Lieutenant was knocked down. No way, is that Lieutenant from Naval Headquarters? Look, that's not the captain of the Black Cat Pirates, Master Hypnosis Zangao. Really, it's a big pirate with a reward of 12 million berry. So they are the members of the Black Cat Pirates. It seems that they said that the defeat of Feinbooty Lieutenant is true. It's not good, do we want to leave here now? The worrying voice of whispering sounded in every corner of the restaurant. Although many customers have heard of the reputation of the restaurant on the sea, they even came to watch the fight between the pirates. But for the famous pirates on East Blue like the Black Cat Pirates, the customers are really worried about their lives. Hearing the content of the conversation, Zangao couldn't help lowering the brim of his hat. Well, I am no longer the captain of some Black Cat pirate group, and become a handyman on another ship. It seems that although I am no longer in the arena, there are still my legends in the arena. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.